Today we are talking about every single NHL team's trade deadline plan, starting with the Pacific Division, starting with the Anaheim Ducks, and who I think they should bring in. I think they should stay put. I think it's a good idea to stay put. I think you've had a very up and down year. You've dealt with a lot of injuries. I don't think you should trade anybody unless you're trading a depth player, a depth pick, a depth prospect. Like they traded a 4th round pick for Jeff Veal. He's Jeffrey Veal, just a tough guy kind of thing at the end of the day. But I don't think they should, try and make any major moves. I think this year's been weird enough as it is. I think they should stick with what they have. They have a good thing going here and just kind of ride this high wave until Carlson, McTavish, Terry, all these guys get back. But if they had to bring in somebody, this may seem like nothing, but Jason Dickinson is apparently on the trade block for Chicago. I was looking at a guy like Pius Suter. He's on IR. There's not really anyone in Vancouver. And most other teams aren't really selling. They need a cheap, like kind of low draft pick acquired center. I don't think that make any sense. But Jason Dickinson's the best one I could find. Basically what I'm saying is go just, if you need to get somebody, just get like a depth guy who can play center wing. Only have to give up like a 4th or a 3rd or like a low end prospect and like a 5th or a 6th. I just think that's the move for Anaheim. Next up, the Calgary Flames. They should get rid of Blake Coleman. There's a lot of players, but Blake Coleman, they can wait. But I think they're going to get an absolute haul at this trade deadline compared to next year. And he just got injured. His value could tank a little bit, but don't risk it. Just like if some team offers an absolute bag, just go for it. Get Blake Coleman in. And then the two players they could look to acquire, number one, Sam O'Reilly, because this is more of a trade package thing. Like if the Lightning, I think, are one of the teams that could acquire Blake Coleman. And I think Sam O'Reilly, he just got traded for, but he's probably the best prospect the Lightning have in the system. Who else would you really want? Now, obviously, you could go the draft pick route, but, I kind of had to choose a player. So I chose Sam O'Reilly, and another one is Mason Lohrei. They were interested in Mason Lohrei, they tried to get him in the Rasmus Andersson trade. They wanted an extension. Boston did. That one fell through. Who knows? If you don't want to go the draft pick route and you don't get a prospect like Sam O'Reilly, maybe a player, a left shot defenseman who can play with Perellzy and could work. Next up, the Edmonton Oilers. They're going to trade Andrew Mangiapane. Get him the hell out of here. Whatever it takes, really. If you can trade bad contract for bad contract, but somehow, pick up a better player in return. If you can get off Trent Frederic, obviously that's the main one, but, we're trying to keep it somewhat realistic. No one's taking Trent Frederic right now, but a player they could bring in is Bobby McMann. Now, this may not seem like a lot again, but for the Edmonton Oilers, they need depth scoring, obviously. They need some physicality. And Bobby McMann, one thing that he has working in his advantage is he's played with Matthews, Nylander, Marner, Tavares. He can play with these big players. Right now you have Podkolzin, Savoy, these type of guys on Draisaitl's line. That's not bad, but if you can add a goal-scoring power forward, just a good middle six player for $1 million, that's the move. Next up, the LA Kings. I think Alex Turcotte, he's not a bad player. He's low-key nasty, especially in NHL 26. If you need a player for the cheap, and if you do gameplay, pick up Alex Turcotte. Watch this video. The amount of nasty goals I scored was insane. This was literally like a 3-minute clip. But anyways, that's besides the point. Alex Turcotte, I feel like some team would bet on him, a center, good two-way, kind of guy at this point in his career. And who knows, maybe if he plays with some good players like he did at the National Development Program, he could be a pretty good player. I know he's older, but there's definitely some team taking a chance on him. And to bring in a guy, I think Artemi Panarin just makes the most sense. LA, New York, big market kind of guy. Just like, he's about to get traded, so I have to upload this video as quick as possible. And Artemi Panarin, he just perfect fit. Adrian Kempe, they need a number one, kind of guy along with Kempe. He's never really had that because Kopitar's been old. Kopitar, Kempe, Panarin, then you have Byfield, Laferriere, and Fiala. I think that's a pretty good top six. Next up, the San Jose Sharks. I mean, it's looking like they want to trade Mario Ferraro. They haven't really got close on an extension according to reports, which is interesting. But I think, there's a lot of teams who would be looking at Mario Ferraro. Timothy Liljegren's another one they can move. I mean, I personally wouldn't really want to move these guys unless you get a really good offer. But, I mean, might as well if you're not going to sign an extension. These guys won't be a part of your long-term plans if they hit free agency. So if they're not going to sign, you might as well just trade them. I trust Mike Grier. He's probably one of the best new GMs in the league. And I think for bringing in, I'm cheating a little bit. I think they should bring in draft picks. I don't think you should, you traded 2 for Kiefer Sherwood. I think you should just chill out there. You should try and rebuild. If you trade Ferraro or Liljegren, I'm sure one of them could land you a second or, something like that. So you just kind of rebuild that draft capital, get back to where you were. And I think that's good for the Sharks. Next up, the Seattle Kraken. I mean, they, I guess, want to trade Shane Wright. Personally, I would not do this. If he comes to the Jets and we don't have to trade Perfetti, I will literally, oh my goodness, that would be the greatest trade ever. Thank you so much, Seattle. But Shane Wright, it looks like they want to trade him. They should be able to either include him in a package like a Panarin trade, like for a star, or they should be able to, get a haul for him. So I guess it's good business either way, but man, that sucks. You took a potential generational, not generational, but star player. You need star players in Seattle, and that's why I'm going for Jordan Kyrou as we segue to that. Jordan Kyrou, tried to trade for him in the summer, I'm pretty sure, and I guess it just didn't work out, but St. Louis, if they're actually doing a fire sale, personally, I wouldn't trade Thomas and Kyrou. I think they could be very valuable pieces in this retool. And, but if they want to trade these guys, Jordan Kyrou in Seattle just seems perfect. Unlocks Beniers. They need right wingers, just not a superstar, but maybe on his own team with all that opportunity, he could be a point per game player. I would like that for Seattle. Next up, the Canucks. They should just trade Evander Kane. It just seems like teams want him for some reason. I heard Dallas, I heard Carolina, Florida. There's just a bunch of random teams interested in Evander Kane. It makes sense. He is a headache to deal with, but if you can kind of chill him out, he's a really good player, and he's been in the Cup Finals 2 years in a row. And, for the Canucks, just bring in anyone young, bro. Just, figure it out. I tried to get a specific player. I was looking, in the ideal world, you find kind of a guy like Kuzmenko, and those players are really hard to find. Yuri Slafkovsky's the kind of guy who's an upgraded Kuzmenko. You're not getting Slafkovsky. There's, a couple other guys out there that I was looking at, but none of them were really available on the market. And I think, why want a player like Kuzmenko, who's a net front playmaking, offensively skilled shooting player, to play alongside Pettersson, because then you have that line that unlocked Pettersson. That's your only salvaging point as a Canucks organization. So I would try and make the most out of Pettersson if I can find a player that fits with them. And lastly, Vegas. They already traded for Anderson. They don't really need much. But if I had to be picky, I would trade away Brandon Saad. He just hasn't really done anything this year. He's injured right now, and I don't know. I'm sure there's some team who'd be willing to trade a low-level draft pick for him. And if you have a move in mind, you can clear up some cap space. Who knows? Maybe you can make a pretty big splash if somebody goes on LTIR or something. The Vegas Golden Knights way. So I think if they find the cap space, they should look at Charlie Coyle. He has a pretty healthy cap hit, unfortunately. So I highly doubt this is going to be possible without sending money the other way. But just there was no one that I want Vegas to trade for. But in an ideal world, a right shot center or wing kind of guy. He just seems like a Vegas player. Unfortunately, it's not the name that they usually go for, the big name. But I mean, I think hockey-wise, he would fit right in, especially with Carlson out. So that is the Pacific Division. I think there's a lot of craziness in this division. It's really up for grabs after Vegas and Edmonton. That third spot, that wild card spot, a lot of teams are in it. Vancouver's the only team really out of it right now in this division. So hopefully, these teams can make some good moves. I really want to see a good trade deadline. And don't worry, the other 3 divisions are coming real soon.